Hey everyone, Eric with Rockin' H. In this video, we are going to answer a YouTube comment about where to get .stl files for printing, or just files for 3D printing. And what a great question, because I think what happens a lot of times, and I've seen this in groups, it comes up pretty regularly, where do I get files? Or people will say, hey Eric, will you sell me one of your files? Or would you let me use it to break in my new printer? Because I think what happens is people get a printer for a holiday or a birthday, something like that, and now they want to make something with it, right? But they don't know where to start. So let's get into this, because this is a really, really great question. And it's way too cold to do anything outside today because we're getting a winter storm, and so we're here in the lab answering your questions. All right, let's do this. Okay, so I've made this for you, and it's in the comments. Just you got to find where it says get 3D files, a free resource or something like that. You give me your email address and I'll send you this along with a series of blog posts that I've written explaining how to get files, especially if you don't have any skills like me or you don't even own a printer, how you can get your things made. So you'll get all of that for free. Just give me your email address and then I'll start it up. But for now, where can you go to get free .stl files for printing? Okay, Thingiverse, My Mini Factory, Printables, Cults, and Umagine. Those are a couple of sources for free. And remember, if you give me your email address, I'll send you all this stuff. Okay, one thing that I've learned, and I've used some of these websites in the past, one thing that I've found is sometimes the file isn't really print ready. Sometimes they are made for, they're three-dimensional, but they're made for gaming or something like that. So you might find a really cool file, but it is not made for printing necessarily. It is made for incorporating into a game or a website or something like that. It's still a 3D file, but it may not be printable, and you may have to do some editing to the file. Using different sources like this, I've also found that it's not the right size. Okay, so somebody made this really cool thing, like I downloaded an air conditioner from some random website, and I got it, and I mean the file was absolutely enormous, or the item would have printed absolutely enormous. Well, I deal in 1/64 scale, not humongous, or whatever that thing was for, whoever designed it. So I had to incorporate it into other software and then make it the size I needed, blah, 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 okay? So just a couple of things to keep in mind. Now, there are other websites that are paid, so you can actually download. So somebody created some intellectual property, a file, and now they're willing to sell it to you. And here's 3 examples of that: Turbo Squid, CG Trader, and PinShape. So there's 3 choices for you there. You'll probably have to search in their search options for the files you want. They may not have the exact thing you're looking for or want, so you'll just kind of have to poke around until you find what you want. In the paid versions, sometimes, and I've seen this on different websites, they might come with this stipulation: you can buy access to this file. However, they'll write some language says you cannot use it for commercial purposes, meaning you can't sell it. So you can use it to make your own thing at your house, but you can't take that same item and then sell it to all your buddies. Maybe you could give it away. I don't know what the legality is there, but you might just want to keep that in mind as you're searching through these websites looking for things, okay? Just something to keep in mind. There's a couple of other websites I found. Specialized niche .stl file sources are Yegi and STL Finder. And so this was just a quick research on the web. You'll have to go to all these different places and find what you need to. You'll just have to go figure it out. I mean, that's what a lot of us do when we're looking for specific things, is we're like, oh, I want this XYZ. You go to the internet, you find your website, you find the thing, and then you just gotta like, oh shit, now I gotta download it, I gotta resize it, or maybe it's for gaming, not for printing, so you gotta do that conversion or however that works. I don't even know how that works. Okay. Here's some farm-related places for STL files. And these are going to be repetitive from the previous list. So Cults is one, Printables, My Mini Factory, Thingiverse, Yegi. Again, they all have different offerings, and you'll just have to search through them to find what you want. A couple of places for semi-related items. Again, Turbo Squid, CG Trader, Pinshape, 3D Sets, and STL Finder. I have used Turbo Squid in the past. They have some free and paid options there. There was a project I did a number of years ago where I bought a 3D file, and it was for a T370 Kenworth, and then so it was for gaming, not for printing. And then I paid another designer to go ahead and convert that into a file for printing, and then he made me a whole bunch of other things like frames, windscreen, interiors, variations of that cab. And I actually crowdsourced the payment of that because it was quite a bit of money. And so I had 4 or 5 different people buy. They paid me, and at the end I gave them the proper file format to for printing, so they could have some different options, and then they would pay me a fee. They get a file, you get a file, that guy gets a file. We all get the same thing, and then we can do with it whatever we want. And then I got what I wanted. So we all crowdsourced it. It'd be much like a Kickstarter or something like that. That's how I did that. That was kind of cool, actually. So multiple people have the same stuff, but it's the way we all got what we wanted, and that was pretty cool. Another way to get 3D files is, if you see somebody making something cool, just ask them. I have people ask me all the time, hey Eric, do you have files? Can I buy this file from you? And in some cases I sell it, in some cases I don't. Normally when I sell you a file, it's your property. You do with it what you want. And I have files on my website for sale right now. Generally, they are the kind of thing that doesn't sell really well. So an example of that would be end dump grading beds. You know, the tipper beds on grain trucks out in agriculture land. Those kind of things really don't sell well for me. So do I really care if you have the file and you buy it from me and whatever else, and then you print your own and sell them or do whatever you want? No, I don't care. I don't really sell that many, so I'm not creating any competition, and yeah, I just don't care. So I have a few things like that right now on my website, so if you wanted to go to Rocket Nature Farm Toys, you can find a few. There's been a number of occasions where I know a buddy of mine over here wants an object, and I want the same thing. We'll pool our money together, and then whoever has the better designer will design the item, and then we just split the cost of designing. They get the file, I get a file, and we're all happy. So that's another way. And then all these websites that I've listed will have various things that you can go figure out how to get them and then download them, print them. A final way that you can get your items, if you can't buy it or if you can't find someone to design it for you, is to learn how to do it yourself. Now, in the last couple of years, I have just begun designing some of my own stuff. Now, I do not do complicated things. Mostly, I do geometric shapes. And if I can incorporate another file, it'd be like incorporating a Word document. If you've ever, opened a Word document that you downloaded from somebody and then you just change the Word document, it's the exact same thing. So I will take a file I've already got, import it into design software. I will chop up this file I already own and then modify it to be something else. And that works really well too. So you can do some complicated things without having to have all that skill. Now, what kind of design software is there? Right now I'm using Tinkercad, which is free. There's also SketchUp by Google. I don't know anything about that. I do know it. I believe it's still free. At least I tried it long ago, and I didn't have patience to learn then, but I do now. So, but like I said, I'm using Tinkercad right now, and I find it pretty intuitive. And if there's something I don't know how to do, I usually just go to YouTube and ask YouTube, how do I design an elbow in Tinkercad, and then usually there's some sort of tutorial there that will teach you basically step by step what you need to know, and then you can just go take that knowledge and put it on your project. And that's been pretty cool. There's other kinds of design software. You'll have to pick the one that works for you. Most of them have a paid version of it, or if you're a student, you can get a student version of a more robust type of design software. Since I'm not a student anymore, like I said, I'm just using the free version of Tinkercad, and that's been doing basically everything I need to do. And then I still pay designers a lot to just, especially if it's complicated. There was a project that a fellow wanted me to do, and I thought it was kind of interesting, which is why I'm doing it. And it was way out of my comfort zone. So I'm like, designer, will you do this? What will you charge? And what are the terms? How many revisions can I have? And then, yeah, that person designs it, I get it, and then poof, here we are. I've got this thing coming to me in a couple of days. So that would be I guess the final version of how to get them. So let's go over and figure out one more time all the different ways you can get these files. One, you can buy them from all the websites that you can get in the PDF I'll email you. Look down on the bottom. There's paid and free versions of those, so keep that in mind. You can learn how to design yourself, and that's a possibility. You can pay someone to design for you, and that's a possibility. You can collaborate with a couple of buddies and figure out, hey, we all want the same thing. Let's crowdsource this and buy it together. We all get a copy. Here we are. Or you can just go to someone that has something you like and say, will you sell it? If so, how much or not? Maybe you'll win, maybe you won't. So those are the basic ways you can get what you want for printing. And yeah, so I challenge you guys and gals, whoever's watching, go out and make something really cool. 3D printing is the absolute most fun you'll have, especially if you're patient and you like to make things, because it is the Wild West. There's virtually zero rules, and you can do kind of whatever you want. I mean, you're limited by your imagination and maybe the size of the print bed that the machines that do the printing. So that's really the only limitations you have. So with that, I hope you go make something awesome. Go get them.